And the word I used with her was anticipation. Once you understand the expectation, you can anticipate and plan for it. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. I am so excited about today's topic. It's something that actually happened earlier this week with a daughter of mine who is in high school and is going through some final exams and some makeup exams. So earlier this week, she said to me, why is it that some kids who don't study end up getting 90s? And I study and I put so much effort. I stay up late and, I seem to just get a lousy grade. And so she's mentioned this to me a couple of times. And these kids that she's mentioning about are people that she actually knows. And so sometimes, the typical responses can be, well, they're probably naturally smart. They probably got lucky. And this one was kind of my inside voice. Well, maybe they cheated, even though that's not true. These are kids that she knows very well. And so, it's funny. We've always told our kids that, no matter what, as long as we know that you've put your effort in, we're okay. We're okay if you don't get those 90s and hundreds and high 80s, as long as we know that you've done the work and you've put the effort in. But for some reason, this time around, when she mentioned this to me, I had to take a pause and I had to really think about this because it really affected me. Because it ended up being a reflection of myself too. Why is it that I was able to achieve certain goals and why I wasn't able to achieve other goals? So it bothered me so much, it kept me up at night. And through my conversations with her, I realized two things. It is understanding the landscape and our behavior. So let me explain. So the word studying, and I actually had to look this up. According to Google, studying is devote time and attention to acquiring knowledge, period. And I thought, okay, so perhaps this might be the problem. It's acquiring learning is what I understood it as. So therefore, the statement that most kids, and my daughter included, says, I'm studying for an exam the night before. And so most kids do this. They're cramming, they're trying to study, and they're trying to do good on the exam. But this is a false statement that we're making to ourselves and the kids are making to themselves. Cramming, and as we all know, cramming is not the way to study. So studying happens when the material is being introduced to you. So, for example, you're sitting in a classroom and you're learning what the teacher is teaching you, or if you're self-taught, that's when the studying actually happens. It doesn't happen the night before the exam. And I had to explain the difference to my daughter. You have to learn the material. You really have to understand it. And then when it comes to exam time, you're just merely reviewing the material before the test. This creates less stress. She's walking around like a ball of stress. And so when I tried to explain to her, she didn't quite understand it. And then I had to give her examples, and she finally started to understand. And she went into her next exam less stressed because she knew the material. It's not like she didn't know it. And she felt so much better, and she did better than she had expected. But it's still a behavior. It's still something that we have to learn to change. It doesn't happen just the first time around. And so number two, under understanding the landscape, is understand the expectation. So in her case, it would be, how does a teacher grade? How does a teacher teach? What do they expect out of the students? What is their teaching style? What is within your control that you can do? Not worry about things that are not in your control. And the word I used with her was anticipation. Once you understand the expectation, you can anticipate and plan for it. Number 3, under understanding the landscape, would be true effort requires change. So the statement that I made to my daughter about as long as that she puts the effort in, we're okay. But it has to be the right kind of effort. It just can't be a blanketed statement. So if you truly are putting the effort into studying the material, that really does change the way you think, especially when we expect our kids to think critically or train them to think critically. So what do I mean? Like, change, what does that mean? You have to ask that question to yourself. What do I need to do to change? So do I need a tutor? Do I need to ask lots of questions? Do I need to create study groups? Do I need a mentor? Do I need to go in early to, perhaps ask some questions to the teacher if you're not comfortable asking during class? There are many ways of truly putting in effort that really creates the change. So how does that apply as a financial advisor? So that's, let's put in perspective about what we do every day. So the studying part, going back to the first one, studying. So understand your business, understand the landscape of your business. How do you get paid? What is the business model that you want to do? Like, how do you want to run your business? Do I want to be a general practice where I sell, all the products? I want to be a holistic approach. Or do you want to be very specific? You want to create a niche in the market, and this is what you're good at. This is what you want to do. And I think the most important one is your exit strategy. You got to keep the end in mind so that you can work towards that. So essentially for us, it would be sort of the business plan. Understand the landscape, create the business plan, create, your roadmap. So then number 2 would be understanding the expectations. So what is it going to take to get to that end goal? What will it take? Well, how much time do I need to spend? Calendar has to be sort of your go-to so that you don't end up, getting distracted by other things, and that you're staying very focused on your actions and your goals. And again, the same thing as I told my daughter, what is it that you have control that you can do, and not use excuses outside that you have zero control over? Because she was very good at saying, well, the teacher didn't do this and she didn't teach this. And, why is it that I have to do this? So, once you understand how the teacher works, you can have control about what you do with that. You can't go externally and blame the external circumstances. So number 3, true effort requires change. So how does that work for our industry? It goes back to the same thing. What do I need to do to change? Do I need a trainer? Do I need a mentor? Do I need to create a mastermind group so that I can have someone that I can pick up the phone and call? Do I rely on my MGA? Do I need an EA? Again, going back to what I told my daughter, ask lots of questions. There's lots of products. There's a lot of things that we have to learn. Asking lots of questions also, sets that change that we need to do. So then now we're going to go to number 2 thing that I realized. All this understanding the landscape is just the beginning. So what is it that's going to take to now make that change? And so lots of words pop up, and, mindset was one of them. But again, I looked up what mindset means. It means established set of attitudes held by someone. So even if I put the word growth mindset at the beginning, it's still, you don't want to be stuck in a mindset. We want to alter our behavior. We want to change our behavior. And that takes reflection, stop, pause, think, and then let's do. So there are 5 things that I had come up with going through this process. The first one was stress. It's all caused by you, and it's not the external factors. So when I was talking to my daughter about how to improve her stress management, how to, it's not that she doesn't know her stuff. It's that she knows it very well. She goes back and she studies more and more and more. She creates this stress situation, and then she ends up not doing very well on the test because she's more concentrating on the stress of getting the good grade rather than just reviewing the item, the actual material. So I had to make her understand is that you're creating this little stress environment for yourself, and you need to stop doing that. And how do you do that? Is number 2, recognize them. Recognize where you get stressed out. If you have to make a list, I'm a big fan of lists. Make a list. Where is it that you're stressing out so that you can actually mitigate it? You can manage it. And by doing that, and by now I'm sure everybody knows, I love checklists. Absolutely love them because it keeps me focused. And so create a checklist, a checks and a balance, so that you're not missing anything and you're creating that balance and you're really attacking the problem and not just ignoring it. Number 4, and it's probably my favorite. So I tell this to my kids all the time. So I've coined this phrase for them. It's failure is the only option. Giving up is not. So don't be afraid to fall. Don't be afraid to fail a test, but make sure it's early on so that you can go and correct it. And you can figure out how you can improve for the next time around. But if you're scared about failing from the get-go, usually the chances are that you're just going to fail continuously. So fail early. I've always told them, fail early and then change the things that you need to change by recognizing them and creating checklists. Number 4, process. This really does allow for the change to happen, to constantly be innovating, to make sure that you keep your, I guess in our industry would be keep your business alive, to keep your position alive. If you ever get a chance, I would highly recommend listening to CEO of Tomorrow, Mark Walsh. His talk really changed the way I view my business. And he always talks about how do you make your job obsolete? How do you make your business obsolete? So this creates the longevity in your business. And by doing this, is that you create this process. Number 5, comparison. This is a big one because, we're constantly comparing ourselves with other people, other industry leaders. My daughter's comparing herself to other students. But we should be doing this in a negative way. What we should be doing this is creating an opportunity. So compare to create the opportunity for yourself. So, for example, so why do I not have this? Why can I not do this? Change that to saying, let's compare ourselves to saying, well, what is it that they're doing that I can implement in my day-to-day life? What is it that I can learn from them? How do I improve my process? It's a constant evolution. And this is the reason why I don't like using the word mindset, because even if you're sitting in the growth mindset, we're not changing. And we need to change. We need to change our behavior. And that takes constant trial and error. That takes a lot of reflection. That takes stopping and pausing. And, I always used to think, oh my God, planning takes so much time and effort. And I'd rather just be, actually just doing the work. I feel like I'm being productive. And soon enough, I realized that that's just like grasping at straws. And planning is such an essential part of your business. And as we've talked in the last 2 Power Talks was, working on your business and not essentially in your business. And so, and as I mentioned in the last talk is, I've dedicated Fridays to working on my business and how do I improve my business? How do I, go through this process of creating checklists and creating the processes so that I can think and have that mindset of how do I make my job obsolete so that I can have more production? So it's some of the things that I'm starting to do as far as, increasing my revenue, increasing my, changing my behavior and my mindset. So I truly hope that this has been a helpful scenario that I went through this week, and I hope that this helps you maybe think differently about your business. And I would certainly love to hear your comments in the chat. I know we're approaching our 9:30 time, so I want to be respectful of your time. But if you want to take a couple of seconds and let me know what you think and some of the things that you have started to apply in your business, whether it would be this talk or past conversations that we've had, would love to hear about it. And if not in the chat, would love to hear about it on LinkedIn. You can message me there as well. But I wish you the best day today and a remarkable day, and make something positive happen. Have a great day, everybody.